Do you know Michael McDonald?
Do you know about Ronald?
Do you know about Michael McDonald?
Do you know about Ronald?
I bet you do. Of course you do.
Ronald
Of course you know Michael McDonald.
Yep.
Because that dude just delivered a freaking Lombardi. Yep. I mean, damn. Chowed half fam. That was rough. That was a head caving. That was a, quote, nice, swift ass kicking. Look, I know what a huge letdown that was. I know what a giant kick in the stick that was. Speaking of sticks, at least Mike Vrabel's penis is safe. Am I right?
Penis man.
Unfortunately, for those of us who didn't really have a dog in that fight, I mean, I could argue. I wouldn't really argue. I could listen for a minute to the argument that it was not the most thrilling Super Bowl ever. I could listen to the argument that for many of you, it might have been the most boring Super Bowl ever. I mean, there was a lot of garbage time in that game. I'll give you that. But like I said on X last night, let's not confuse the game being garbage with Seattle's defense being brilliant. Let's not forget to give the Hawks their bleeping credit, for real. They're the ones that made that game garbage if you thought that game was garbage. Because that was exactly their plan anyway. And they executed their plan to perfection. A very simple plan for the Seahawks, actually. Protect the rock, pound the rock, and then unleash the dark side. Now, not exactly my favorite nickname ever for a defense. Certainly not as good as a nickname as Legion of Boom. But the dark side now has just as many Lombardis as the LOB. And Drake May seemed to find the dark side every bit as scary and intimidating as well. Rough night for Drake May. Rough playoffs for Drake May. Turns out maybe that shoulder wasn't so fine after all. Maybe he didn't turn the corner. Since it turns out he did take a spike before the game. However, to me, the Patriots had much bigger problems than that dude's shoulder, beginning with the fact that they couldn't block anybody at all. Will Campbell, clearly not 100% either. Short arms or not. Because that guy made close to 0% of his blocks. Dude got absolutely abused all night long. And as a result, May was never comfortable, never had time. He took 6 more sacks to bring his playoff total to 21. He turned it over 3 times. Turnovers have pretty much defined that game, especially since Seattle never turned it over even once. In fact, they never turned it over the entire postseason, which is incredible because wasn't that the whole story coming in? That Sam Darnold led the league in turnovers, that Sam Darnold had to protect the ball. They didn't turn it over once the entire postseason. The Hawks are the first Super Bowl champ ever to go an entire postseason without a single turnover. And that's especially impressive considering that was the narrative for Sam. You know, his history with turnovers. Even during the past regular season, as I just referenced. But somehow that offense that was 3rd in INTs this season, 2nd in turnovers, managed to clean all of that up for an immaculate playoff run. And dominating the turnover battle was just the biggest reason they just stormed to their 2nd ever Lombardi. And you know what? Sam Clemente deserves a hell of a lot of credit for that. Did Sam Dana Point put on a laser show last night? No, not at all. But the point is, he didn't have to. We talked about this last week. The Seahawks did not need a laser show to win that game. All Sam had to do was execute the game plan, protect the football, pick his spots, and then hand it to that stud, Kenneth Walker III. And to be clear, Kenneth Walker deserved the MVP. He was the most valuable player in that game. However, Sam Capistrano Beach deserves a ton of credit for completing that career 180 and getting past all the ghosts, all the big game demons, all the hate, all the mockery, all the memes, everything, and putting together an entire playoff run without turning the ball over even one time. That's exactly what this team needed, and that's what my dude, Sam the SoCal, delivered. Couldn't be happier for him, considering he is the first QB drafted by the Jets to win the Super Bowl since Joe freaking Namath. I would say what Sam just pulled off is damn near as miraculous. Man, I'm happy for Sam. I'm happy for Sam like I'm happy for Demarcus Lawrence, who was able to overcome Jera and escape Dallas to immediately win a ring. Obviously something he was never, ever going to do in Dallas. Just as Demarcus said right when he showed up in Seattle. This clip was already a classic long before yesterday, but now that it's official, it's officially an all-time great. Here is Demarcus Lawrence explaining before the season, even though Dallas was home, he knew he had to get the hell out of there if he ever had any prayer of ever sniffing a Super Bowl.
My home there, my family lives there. I'm forever going to be there, but, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
We here.
So, yeah, we here. Incredible. How'd that taste, Jera? How'd that grab you, Gramps? How you like them apples? Man, I don't know which owner got owned worse this weekend. Jera by Demarcus Lawrence or Robert Kraft by Jordan Hudson. If you're watching on the stream, would you look at that? That is incredible. You got to give it to her. She's rocking an Orchids of Asia t-shirt. I didn't even know they had merch. That is savage. That is savage. That is an all-time troll job. That is incredibly awesome. I think I'm actually starting to like her for the first time ever after that all-time troll. Obviously, she and her old man hate Old Man Kraft. They just don't give an F. Because there's no way that hood is going to get that statue now after that troll job. Hope that was worth it. Ask me, it absolutely was. I mean, that bridge already clearly had been burnt. But Jordan, man, she was looking to burn down the entire stadium and finish the job. Like, I literally cannot believe she showed up rocking that shirt. On the one hand, obviously Belichick signed off on that. Or obviously Belichick still has no say in anything when it comes to her. That is absolutely incredible. An Orchids of Asia shirt. The only thing better would have been if they had matching shirts. What if Belichick had gone with one? I mean, point made. He didn't need to, but it would have been so much better. Meanwhile, back to Seattle. Credit to John Schneider for jumping on that Demarcus Lawrence opportunity. Credit to Schneider for all the crazy, brilliant moves he's made to remake this team. It's incredible that he's now the first GM to win a second Super Bowl with a brand new head coach and a brand new roster. I mean, dude deserves as much credit as anybody else for what Seattle just pulled off. I mean, is there anybody in that position, anybody in that job title position, anybody in that league doing a better job than John Schneider is right now? I don't think so. And there are some legends in that position. Nick the Clone, Howie Roseman, Les Snead. But I'm going to imagine they would even have to give the nod to Schneider after what he just pulled off. But in the end, as impressive and as dominant as the Seahawks were, nothing that happened yesterday was all that surprising, right? I mean, half fam, right? Seattle was just the best and the most complete team all year long, and all they did yesterday was exactly what they do best. Again, protect the rock, play great defense, and dominate at the point of attack. Unfortunately for my Chowd half fam, the Patriots had no answers. And if you thought that game was going to go any other way, well, that's just what a fool believes. Signed, do you know Michael McDonald?
Do you know about Ronald McDonald?
And John Schneider. And Sam Clemente. And Vic and NoCal. And the Seahawks. Yep.
Yep.
Everybody residing outside of Foxborough who was tripping on the Patriots, being back on top, can now rest easily, at least for now. Thanks, Alvy. And as far as all of you who came in hating the 12s, I mean, I understand that. They're not the most likable, but I understand that. You may have an issue, though, because this crew is built, not the 12s, but the organization, the team. They're built to endure. They have a great organization. They have a genius head coach. And by the way, do you know about Michael McDonald? You probably don't, because he doesn't really say very much. He's not interviewed very often. This dude's a straight genius, like a genius. They've got him. They've got a great organization. Sam 949 is only 28. JSN is only 23. It stands to reason they're only going to get better with greater familiarity, consistency, and regularity. So now I need your reaction. What were your biggest takeaways? And again, since I'm back in our studios and we couldn't interact much last week, if you want to share your thoughts on our coverage from the row, you can do that too, because we had an absolute blast. And again, New England, I'll talk more about this. They've got their own take, but as badly as that went, as humiliating as that was, man, it was still a great, great year. Take nothing away from the Pats. They had an amazing year. They're way ahead of schedule. They're not frauds, as people want them, make them out to be. And luckily, Mike Vrabel gets to keep his dong. He doesn't need to take a machete to his penis, which is good. Something you'd hope for.